What is going on, wrestling fans? It is me, D Loves Wrestling, and today I bring to you my opinions on my first time watching All Elite Wrestling. Now, before we get into everything, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and leave a comment. I go live stream for Monday Night Raw, NXT, Friday Night SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, and also all premium live events. I think you're gonna have a blast. I post pretty much daily wrestling content, and who doesn't love daily wrestling content? I mean, I know you will, and I know you'll love this channel. Let's dive into my thoughts on AEW. Now, when I saw the first 30 to 45 minutes of AEW Dynamite, I saw that almost everyone has a championship. I don't know what the titles are called, or if they're from different promotions like Rampage and Collisions, or that was just on AEW Dynamite. There were too many titles on multiple different superstars. There were like 2 different tag team titles, I swear. There was a trios title. There was about like 2 or 3 mid-card titles. And there were like 2 or 3 world champions, it looked like. And I'm just like blown away because I'm a WWE fan. I know my name is D Loves Wrestling. I'm just starting to dive into AEW and other wrestling promotions. So this is new to me. I didn't know they have several championships. I don't know if it's for the entire brand of AEW all on one show. If that's just AEW Dynamite's champions, there is a ton being handed out on that one show, let alone for Collisions and Rampage. Now, me talking about this, I don't know everything, so I could be wrong about for saying that there's too many champions on that one show. That could very much be every single AEW superstar who is champion just on that show. That would make a lot more sense if that was just all the champions in the entire company on the show. But if that's just all the champions on Dynamite, then we have a problem. We can't be handing out championships like they're candy. Like, I know Halloween's coming up, but we can't just hand championships away. That takes the meaning away from winning a title. Now, despite me talking about the handing titles like they're candy, the belts do look different than WWE, and I kind of like the look to it. And I know this is like a stupid fact to say, but it was also cool seeing Mariah May wear the belt on her waist, because not too many people wear the belt anymore on their waist. I feel like that was like an early 2000s thing. So that was cool. I know that doesn't really have anything to do with it looking cool, but yeah, the belts are a little bit bigger. They're pretty much more gold based. There's not really any color involved in any of the titles, but I think that's pretty cool. It looks like WWE has resulted to that with their tag team championships recently. WWE has had their fair share of ugly looking championships, if we're being all honest here. But yeah, the belts look really cool. I just wish there weren't so many champions from what I saw on one show. I feel like that kind of takes away the whole meaning of winning a championship, in my opinion. One thing that I caught on to and that I've seen on clips of AEW highlights was match stipulations on regular shows. When I watched Dynamite, there were 3 or 4 matches on the entire show, but 2 of them had time limits. Now, I'm new to this, so I don't want to make anyone mad, but I mean, if I do so by just me being honest, then I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. But I don't really like that, especially if they do that when it comes to like big PLE matches. Say if it's a 15-minute time limit match, right? And then it's being really good up until like the 13 or 14-minute mark. Then you see one person gain momentum and there's only 30 seconds left. I feel like you kind of know who the winner is going to be, and it takes away the thrill of, you know, knowing who's going to win the match, whether it's a big time match or if it's just a normal filler match. But I also see they have like those death matches as well. I think CM Punk was involved in one of them, John Moxley, MJF as well. I did not see that on Dynamite, obviously. I think that's really cool that they do that, actually. At WWE, I can never see them doing that, ever. So it's cool that AEW has a separate stipulation match that no other company, from my knowledge, is doing right now that is like mainstream and on television. Now, all my knowledge isn't just from what I just saw on AEW Dynamite last week. I've also been hearing, you know, rumors and just stuff, highlights and everything about AEW for the past 2 years since I got back into watching wrestling. I heard that the lack of storytelling is a big issue in AEW. I heard that Tony Khan isn't really the best when it comes to building proper feuds, but he just would rather pair up Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley and just have them have like a blood brawl for the sake of watching wrestling. Some people might like that. I'm not particularly someone that likes watching just two guys in the ring going at it. When I was a kid, it didn't really matter. I just wanted to see John Cena and Randy Orton have a feud for 10 times in a row. It was really cool just seeing my favorite superstars. But now, storylines can literally build superstars. I mean, we're seeing it over in WWE with Dominic Mysterio. Now I feel like we don't even really consider him Rey Mysterio's son anymore. He kind of just grew into his own superstar, and Dom has a lot of potential because of proper storytelling and proper feuds. I mean, he's in one of the hottest storylines right now with Rhea Ripley against Liv Morgan. That's just one example that I just thought of at the top of my head that can literally build superstars just by proper storytelling and proper feuds. AEW seems to have a lack of building superstars from the ground up and making them a top tier wrestler. Now remember, before any heated comments get put down below, this is just my opinion. You have yours, I have mine. From what I heard, AEW All In was really cool, and they have an upcoming PLE coming out, but by the time this video is coming out, All Out may have already happened, but All Out is coming out as well, and the prices of the PLEs are $60 per PLE. In my opinion, especially with All In and All Out being literally only 2 weeks apart, money is kind of tight for everyone nowadays. $60 2 weeks in a row for 2 PLEs for 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours of wrestling. Is it really worth it at that point? I feel like AEW needs to go on a streaming service, and it could be free or maybe a $5, $8 subscription monthly instead of having these $60 payments for people just to watch wrestling, and they're not even guaranteed a good show. And that goes for when WWE did it as well before they went on to a streaming service, Peacock. WWE going to Peacock and having it basically be free. You could look up any WWE match in history, which is crazy. That was game changing for the company, and it was easy to get newer fans involved. And I think AEW, if they get started on that, that'll bring in a ton of new fans, and I would honestly subscribe to whatever streaming service it is, and I would watch old AEW matches myself. Now let's talk about one of the main things. AEW is loaded with good superstars. Let's take a look at just a couple of names that I can think of off the top of my head. We have Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay, Pac, Darby Allin, Chris Jericho, Mariah May, Toni Storm. The list goes on. I don't know everyone in the company, so that's honestly a lot for me to mention all those names. But AEW has good talent. They could very easily skyrocket to the top just by looking at the roster on a piece of paper. I mean, they have all the tools. It's just only a matter of using the tools in the right situations, when to use them, who works good with who, and also just proper storytelling as well. That alone will kickstart everything, and that can make a superstar to begin with. But yeah, there is no lack of wrestlers on AEW. They're pretty set when it comes to a roster. I mean, honestly, the only improvement, maybe just the women's division could use a little improvement. I'm not trying to compare it to NXT at all, but NXT might have the greatest women's division in pro wrestling right now. NXT isn't even a main roster brand. In my eyes, it is. I think it's better than SmackDown some weeks. The fact that NXT's women's division is 10 times better than AEW's whole company of women's division is pretty crazy. Honestly, my only takeaway that's probably a negative is just that the booking needs to be a little better when it comes to feuds for big time matches. They did an amazing job with Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. In the live stream that I had going on for AEW Dynamite, a lot of my fans were informing me about what's been going on between their feud, and supposedly it's been hot. It's been a really good feud, and AEW knocked it out of the park with that feud between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page. They need to start doing that with the mid-card, the women's division. They did a great job with Mariah May and Toni Storm as well. The all-in match for the Women's World Championship between Toni Storm and Mariah May was an absolute banger. That's all, honestly, they need to work on. Everything else could use some improvements here and there, but we want to make sure that the quality of the actual product, the main focus is the actual wrestling. We want to make sure that the actual wrestling is worth watching, and I feel like proper booking and proper feuds will absolutely cover it for All Elite Wrestling. In conclusion, I'm very excited to see more of AEW and to learn more about the superstars in the company and to just have a good time watching wrestling, and especially with you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment down below, argue with my statements. Let's have a chat, let's have a friendly conversation, and let's talk about wrestling together. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel, and I will see you on the flip side. Thank you so much.